Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
What it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 937 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good afternoon, Friday. We've made it.
Congratulations.
Only a couple more hours to go. Nick Stainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary with you as usual. Rico, what's up, man? Happy Friday.
Hello. Happy Friday, everyone.
How's your day going?
So far, so good. Just doing a lot of work up front and preparing to go to the women's basketball game tomorrow.
Before we get into that, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. Both those open for you guys the entire show today. As Rico said, Husker women's basketball game tomorrow. So the closer we get to this weekend, the more and more excited I'm becoming, because this has the possibility of being a pretty awesome weekend to be a Husker fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nebraska women's basketball starts off tomorrow at 1 p.m. against number 7 Iowa. And
1 p.m. is a great time.
I agree for weekend games.
1 p.m. is a great time for a weekend.
I agree. I 100% agree. You don't have to get out of the house too early. You can kind of hang out, do whatever, do some stuff in the morning if you need to.
Take kids after a nap, so they don't have to worry about them being upset at the game.
See, I'm not familiar with that, so thank you for that, Rico.
It's very important.
And then you still have plenty of time after the game. The game will be done by 3:30. You have plenty of time.
Go somewhere downtown.
Yes. So, speaking of, they've been pushing this to be a sellout today or tomorrow for the Huskers and Hawkeyes game. And it was, according to Nebraska a little bit ago, they have sold just north of 12,000 tickets.
12,200, just a little bit over that.
So, and PBA's capacity, if you don't know, is 15,500. So it's 15,500 seats.
They need 3,300 more people.
Which Rico and I were kind of quickly discussing before we came on the air. Like, they'll probably get that in walk-ups, you would think.
Well, so they have like a little bit less than 24 hours now. That is 112 to get all of that. You'll think they'll get a decent amount of. They don't get 3,000 walk-ups, but they'll get a decent amount of walk-ups. But leading up until that time, you could get somewhere in the 14 probably.
Mm-hmm.
Before walk-ups.
1,400 you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's be honest, guys. Nebraska women's basketball is kind of in a struggle on the struggle bus right now. Fell to Minnesota. They blew that 10-point lead rather at against Illinois at home last time. They were in PBA. They need, I think tomorrow they have an opportunity not only to reassert themselves into the NCAA tournament discussion once again. The bracketology just came out for Husker women's basketball, and they are the first part of that first 4 out list. So the top 4 teams that don't make the tournament, that's where they're kind of at after their loss against Minnesota on Wednesday.
They are literally the first team.
Yeah, so they're on the brink. They need all the help they can get, and a win tomorrow against the number 7 team in the country would do just that. Obviously, it's going to be a quad 1 win. It'd be a top 10 win. It'd be another conference win under their belt. Where if you want to look at maybe a little of a sooner scope, then it'll help for seeding at the Big Ten women's basketball tournament the first week of March as well. And then on top of Saturday night or Saturday afternoon's game, on Sunday, Husker men's basketball will host Maryland. And this is a huge one because Nebraska men's basketball is in this really weird spot where, and Austin and I kind of talked about it on Tuesday, Rico, when you were gone. The roller coaster of what it's been like to be a Husker basketball fan this year is insane to like kind of think back on it. And just as a general Husker fan, if you want to add in Husker football as well, like Husker basketball, it started out on, okay, this team is beating the teams they're supposed to beat. They're avoiding losses to like a Kennesaw State. They're avoiding losses. They Queens in the fashion they were supposed to beat a team like that in.
You didn't have that
major
non-conference
meltdown
loss that you
Yes.
kind of expected the past couple seasons.
Yeah, there was no Incarnate Word. There was no Kennesaw State. There was no Southern Utah. Like, there's
You
no.
took care of business.
Yeah, you did what you were supposed to do. And so it's like, all right, finally Nebraska is doing that.
There were
Now,
multiple games over 500 for the first time in quite some time.
yes, you're right. They reached double-digit wins relatively
a month
early.
and a half before they did last year.
And so, like, you were sitting here going, all right, cool, everything's kind of cooking. And yes, the Big Ten is a gauntlet, and it's a really difficult conference. And Nebraska was never going to be in the top 4 or anything like that. But you saw teams like Northwestern that were playing well, and then Nebraska. Another thing throughout this roller coaster was Nebraska. Whenever they would lose a game, they wouldn't dwell on it, and they wouldn't let that negative energy or that loss kind of spill or creep into the following game. They were able to stop it and bounce back. And then you had the 2 injuries, right? Just a week and a half apart. You had the 2 injuries to Emmanuel Bandamel and Juwan Gary. And it was like, all right, we don't know if Nebraska men's basketball is going to win another game. Like that was where we were at. And now here they are firmly in the potential to have an NIT berth if they're able to win 3 of their last 4 games. And they steal one on the road at Rutgers. They come back from 17 points down at home to Wisconsin. And I don't think NIT is like out of the question. I don't think I don't think they'd make it right now if the season were to end today.
Yeah, it's not a foregone conclusion that they do make it, but it's still in the realm of possibility if you win a couple more games. There's still a possibility that you could get an invite to the NIT. Now, barring craziness, you're not making the NCAA tournament. So that's out of the question.
Your tournament is if you win the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, but as I said, barring craziness, you're not making the NCAA tournament. But an NIT appearance is still possible, even with, not the great, although it would help you immensely, not the greatest showing in the Big Ten tournament. If you win a couple more games to end the regular season, you are sitting squarely on the radar of the NIT committee.
If Nebraska wins 3 of their next 4 games, they will finish the season 16-15 and 9-11 in the conference. They would finish over 500 when both and that is without 2 of your starters since January 21st. Probably, in all honesty, they would probably have to play on Wednesday, unfortunately, because Penn State is kind of the one team that you can catch, and their remaining schedule goes like this: at Minnesota, at Ohio State. At Ohio State game is interesting.
Ohio State
Rutgers at home, Penn State at Northwestern, and Maryland at Penn State. So there are a couple there that I would say tossed up. Yeah. And you don't want to play this like comparing game, like, all right, Penn State, if they win this game, if they lose this game, what's their record?
We're not going to do that.
But that's the most realistic team that Nebraska could catch, I suppose, because it's also the team in front of them in the standings. But you sit here and you go, okay, if the season ended today, what's Penn State? Penn State's 15-11, and in overall. And so if they were to go 500, or excuse me, let's say they go 3-2 the rest of the way, they're going to be 18-13 in their entire season. But Nebraska here, 16-15, which is just, once again, it could to contribute to the roller coaster of
that's if they win 3 of
their last 4. Go 2-2. Yeah, they go 2-2, then they're going to be 15-15 this season.
Which either finishing 1 game under, 1 game over, or at 500.
Yeah.
Taking into account the 2 injuries that happened is a major accomplishment. Taking into account the fact that you finished way under 500 the past 3 seasons is a major accomplishment. You look at the start of the season, you were probably expecting I don't know if you were expecting 500 or a little bit better than 500, but I know I was saying in order for Fred to keep his job, you have to finish at least 1 game over 500. And that's still in the running, which after Emmanuel and Juwan went down, I didn't think they were going to win another game.
And with that, let's say Nebraska wins 3 of their last 4. Wins 3 of their last 4. Now, this is the second straight season that Nebraska has an opportunity to end the season on a high note. You remember last year, they won the game at Wisconsin and at Ohio State to end the year last season.
Mhm.
And now Nebraska, if you think about what they've done, they ruined Penn State's chances to, or at least contributed to, Penn State's lack of ability to make the NCAA tournament coming up.
Mhm.
You played spoiler against Wisconsin at home after you came back from 17 points down,
That's
and
supposed to
and you
happen.
played spoiler against Rutgers.
You may have ruined the tournament berths for 3 Big Ten teams.
I agree. And,
May
and, and, and in addition to all of this, don't forget that Iowa, who is currently 17-9 in the conference, you beat them by 16 earlier this year.
Mhm.
And so, like, it really is a bummer as we kind of look back, and obviously hindsight, it's easier to kind of take things into account. But as you look back, there are a couple games that as a Nebraska fan, you sit there and go, dang, it would have been really nice to have that one, not only for what it would have given your program, but you would also be able to see how those programs would be after a Nebraska loss, i.e. Purdue.
I was just saying, can you imagine
I
if
mean,
they would have beaten Purdue?
so Purdue, if you would have won the game at home against Illinois, if you would have been able to be a little more respectable on the road at Michigan or Indiana at home, because I
Okay.
believe they played Indiana. I can't remember. Or no, maybe they just played them on the road.
Indiana
But either
was
way,
down the road.
they played them on the road.
Yeah.
But either way, like, we've seen flashes from this team, and just kind of going back in the last year or so from now.
Mhm.
Nebraska's beaten Wisconsin on the road. They beat Ohio State on the road. They beat Rutgers on the road. They've beaten Iowa by 16 at home. They've come back from down 17 at one point to Wisconsin. They beat Penn State at home. Like, there have been, and once again, this season especially, you could argue that they've won the games that on paper you would expect them to win. The Minnesota one on the road, that tough, gritty overtime win on the road at Minnesota.
That game was
They
gross.
they beat Ohio State at home just like they should have.
Mhm.
The only issue is that it's sprinkled in with the 20-point loss at home to Illinois, the blowout loss on the road to Michigan State, the blowout loss on the road to Illinois, the disappointing loss at home against Northwestern and Purdue.
Mhm.
And so when you look at the last couple months, though, and taking into everything into account, when you talk about Fred Hoiberg's future and the job status and things like that, this is now my personal opinion has kind of flip-flopped to where, all right, now this is the second straight year that Nebraska has an opportunity to kind of end on a high note. If Nebraska's able to win 3 of their last 4, or even 2 of their last 2, if you win 3 of your last 4, you will be 16-15 overall, and you have had won and ended the season on a 5 of 6 game winning streak. You've won 5 of your last 6 to end the season. And last season, you ended on a little bit of a high note as well. And so when I like, now we're getting to the point here where you start to talk about continuity and what's coming back next season, and we've talked about it extensively.
Mhm.
It's like, all right, cool. You have Jamarcus Lawrence now, and you have Blaise Keita, who we can see has the ability to make an impact. Yeah, you'll lose Derek Walker and Sam Greasel, but maybe you get a guy like Keisei Tominaga to come back, or maybe Eli Rice, the true freshman from IMG Academy, who's going to be their lone recruit in this class, will be able to come in and provide a spark.
Make
Or
an impact.
Ramel Lloyd Jr., who's redshirting this year, or Q McPherson. Like,
Maybe
and
Wilhelm
who-
takes that step.
and also whoever they add from the transfer portal.
because it's going to happen.
It's inevitable.
Look, there's going to be somebody or multiple somebodies who end up leaving the team. And there's going to be somebody or multiple somebodies who end up joining the team via the transfer portal. It's the way that things are. It's kind of the way that Fred Hoiberg has built his roster. It's just something that's going to happen. And you're just going to have to bank on the fact that what they do have returning, whoever they can convince to stay with this team, is going to be better for what they went through this season.
Yeah.
Is going to be better for what they went through the previous seasons, however many seasons they've been with Nebraska. That this coming year, with the players that they have currently waiting on the bench, with the players that they currently have playing, who might be back next season, that they are able to take what they've learned and use it towards success in the coming seasons, because Fred Hoiberg has shown that even losing his two best defensive players, two players that they were banking on having major impacts for this team this year, even after losing them, they were able to come together, use some guys who probably weren't expecting to play a lot of minutes and win some games down the stretch that really help build the momentum going into the offseason, going into next season, and hopefully going into a postseason berth, wherever that may be.
Well, and here's another thing is, although nobody's really excited to write home about it, Nebraska will have the potential, I'm sure, to have potentially the CBI, which is, obviously the tournament below the NIT. But nonetheless, it's postseason exposure and experience for Fred Hoiberg and his staff, which hasn't seen exposure in the postseason past the Big Ten tournament. All the years that he's been here.
I mean, that's still something that you haven't been able to do is go anywhere in the postseason, anywhere after the regular season.
It's fascinating throughout the season, the conversation and the narrative that's kind of switched around Fred Hoiberg, because at the beginning of the year, it's all right. This has to be his last year. Like we're tired. We can't keep losing.
It was how many games into this season before he gets fired?
And now it's this to where it's like, wow, he's done kind of a heck of a job keeping everything intact despite losing two key pieces and still figuring out a way to win big games. That, by the way, a conference like the Big Ten is probably going to get 7 or 8 berths into the NCAA tournament again this season. So
switching up kind of crazy entire mantra from an offensive guru, which he still is. I'm not going to take that away from him, but from your team being mostly offensive and getting shots up, and we're going to make more shots than the other team, to playing a much more defensive game and taking great shots when you can get them, instead of we're going to be faster than them and we're going to get more shots up. The way that they were able to switch things up, and Fred Hoiberg was able to adapt to the Big Ten. It took 4 years, but still, the way that he was able to adapt to the Big Ten this season and show that they can have some success playing this style of basketball, again, very impressive. And if they can finish a game over 500 or at 500, I'm hopeful that buys him another year.
Feel free to send us your thoughts, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. OG Les Lancaster says, wouldn't it just be rad as hell if Rule, Hoiberg, and Bolt all get things going at a high level? Dude, OG, man. I mean, you throw in volleyball in there as well, and if women's basketball can get there, they have a high-level recruiting class coming in. Softball is facing some of the top-tier talent this weekend in their tournament down in Clearwater, Florida. But like you said, baseball and Will Bolt, they will start their season tonight against San Diego at 8 p.m. as first pitch. I believe Emmett Olson gets the nod on the rubber in Game 1 for Husker baseball. So make sure the link will be on Huskers.com to watch it, or they'll probably tweet it out as well. So it's free stream. It's a free stream to watch. At least that's what they're advertising.
That's what they said.
So hopefully all things will stay intact. But yeah, 8 p.m. tonight, Husker baseball gets their season rolling. A new look Husker baseball team that we talked to Kyle Perry. We've talked to DPs, had Lance Harvell, the assistant coach for Nebraska, on as well. We've heard from Will Bolt a couple times this preseason as well. A new look Huskers. They've added 20-plus guys for the third straight season. So a lot of new faces. And one guy that I would tell Husker fans to kind of get excited about without placing too many expectations, freshman third baseman Dylan Carey from the Denver area in Colorado. He is going to be one guy to watch. He'll get the nod at third base to start things off. Max Anderson will move over to second base, and Bryce Matthews will play shortstop for the Big Reds.
That middle of the infield looking nice.
Yeah. Max Anderson, potentially a draft prospect after this year, by the way. So some just kind of keep your eyes on us as we go forward.
Is it weird to say that I hope this is his last year with Nebraska?
If it is, then that means he had a heck of a season.
Exactly.
So, and potentially, as he goes, probably Nebraska will go as well. Let's go ahead and get to break. When we come back, I want to keep it baseball really quickly because after the crossover yesterday, and we were talking about over-under win totals for major league teams. By the way, the Cubs hammer the over 77.5. Don't do it. there was a survey that was taken. We're not going to talk about this.
Write it on the board.
I'm not going to talk about this, but there was a survey that was taken that out of 29 voters, according to the Athletic, 18 said that the Cubs were in the top 5 of improved franchises in the major leagues this offseason. Rico, they signed 9 free agents, north of $300 million total.
Just
in
because you
contracts.
spent a lot of money doesn't mean they're going to be good.
You can say the same thing about the Yankees.
No, they're always good though.
They're good in the regular season.
They're always good.
How you been in postseason?
How have you been in the postseason?
We have a World Series.
Minus your one.
Cubs have a World Series.
So
I shouldn't say we.
2009.
The Cubs have a World Series. Let's get to break. We talk Major League Baseball rule changes when we come back because the major leagues are in a weird spot right now because they're trying to make it interesting and enjoyable for the spectator. I'm not sure if these will really do it. You'll have to let us know on the text line when we come back on the happy hour.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Singer and at Radio Rico AC. More of the hour is on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville. As we roll into the year, we continue to get plenty of new 2023 toys and have a great selection of used vehicles. If we don't have what you want, we can put a new vehicle order in for you. We also have 2.9% financing right now on select Chevy and GMC new models. So stop on in and make that short drive to Louisville or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Are you looking for a solid, stable career in assembly, CNC machining, or injection molding? We got you covered. Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class manufacturer with a 7-year history right here. And I just listed some great career opportunities that you can find by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in a clean, modern, air-conditioned facility with great people, contact me today by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Bit of a nicer day for our Friday when compared to yesterday. We'll see a high of 38 today. Sunny skies, winds out of the west-southwest at around 10 to 15. A low tonight of around 23. It will be a little breezy at times tomorrow. South winds gusting over 20, pushing our highs back up to 43. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Life-changing research doesn't just take place in outer space. It's also happening right here in Nebraska, and you could play a key role. Solarion, one of the world's leading clinical research organizations, needs healthy adults who are 19 years old and older for research opportunity. If you qualify, you could earn up to $500 a day for time and travel. Overnight stays may be required. To learn more, call Solarion at 866-213-2965 or visit helpresearch.com/500.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 7th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service, bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934. HIS 7th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Tractor Supply is looking for time team members for their Waverly Distribution Center. Tractor Supply has a new progressive pay model where team members receive 5 wage increases in the first 2 years of employment with the ability to earn up to $24 per hour. Applicants can expect a 3- and 4-day work week schedule with additional overtime days with both day and night shift schedules available. At Tractor Supply, they work hard, have fun, and make money. Apply today at tractorsupply.jobs.
A new year means new goals and upgrading, but that doesn't only apply to health and fitness. Mullen Motors can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2023 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2022 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just north of 48th and Lake.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and a bonus program. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Tailored Landscapes is actively preparing for spring. Things like getting new tree orders, getting equipment ready, and training staff to serve you the best we can. If you haven't already planned, now is the perfect time to figure out a maintenance plan for your yard. We're on the brink of spring cleanups for all of our existing customers and have limited spots left. We trim trees and shrubs when needed and only mulch proper amounts. Give us a call today at 402-432-2572 to set up a meeting with one of our designers and get ready for Tailored Life's grand opening in Bennett.
Now back to the happy hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the happy hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com.
You guys can't see it, but strippers dancing in the doorway.
Yeah. Nick and Rico with you. All right, so 402-464-5685. I always find this conversation interesting, and this is my favorite time of the year because baseball season is commencing. College baseball season begins today. College softball season in general began last weekend, and pitchers and catchers reported on Wednesday. Either way, Rico, so I warned you that, hey, we're going to go over some new rules in Major League Baseball.
Yes.
You do not know these.
No, I know that they have bigger bases.
Yep, bigger bases.
And that they are really going to crack down on walks.
And no shifts.
And no shifts.
There's no shifts.
Because
Okay.
the Yankees are going to eat.
So I want, and the reason that, Major League Baseball, what they do is they'll try out a couple things in the minors for a year or for a couple years, and that way they have statistics and analytics to tell you, does it speed up the game? Do more fans, become interested in the game? Because they need to grow the sport. A lot of people aren't interested in it or want to sit down and watch a baseball game because it takes so freaking long. Like, I'm even on board. I get that. And so some of these, though, like Major League might be going, or the MLB might be going a little too far on this. So I want to dive into this real quickly, and I want your guys' thoughts. If you love it, if you hate it, if you just don't care. 402-464-5685. All right, Rico, let's get started here with this.
Okay, go ahead.
So there's going to be a pitch clock in Major League Baseball this year. There was last year. It was 30 seconds. There were no minor.
I was going to say,
So
no, there was.
There were no more specific rules within the pitch clock other than the pitch had to be delivered by 30 seconds.
You got 30 seconds.
Now, here's what's crazy. Once again, analytically, games in 2021 lasted 3 hours and 4 minutes on average. Way too long.
Mm-hmm.
Games in 2022, on average, lasted 2 hours and 34 minutes. This is all coming from The Athletic, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to keep the pitch clock, but instead they're going to alter it in addition to what they had last season. When nobody is on base, there is a 15-second pitch clock.
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay, so is it from when you get set?
Put your foot on the rubber.
That's okay. That's fast.
Now, with that, when there are people on base, there are 20 seconds. It's a 20-second pitch clock.
Thank goodness you have 5 seconds.
5 extra seconds. Now, here is in this Athletic article, it says the average time of a minor league game is down 26 minutes this year compared to the olden days with the pre-pitch clock era. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, in addition to this, there are also going to be automatic balls and strikes eligible to be called. All right?
Wait. What?
The title says the Bach record is in major jeopardy. There will be wrinkles to the pitch clock that will take some time getting used to, It's not only 15 seconds between pitches with nobody on and 20 seconds with men on base, but also, here's the kicker. Here's where you're not going to like this, Rico. And this is what I'm excited about. The hitter has to be in the box, eyes locked on the pitcher with 8 seconds left on the timer.
What?
Or the umpire can call and strike. I'll read that again. The hitter has to be in the box with his eyes locked on the pitcher.
Uncomfortable eye contact.
With 8 seconds left on the timer, or the umpire can call an automatic strike.
So,
and vice versa.
So if the
hold on, vice
sorry.
versa, it's okay. And vice versa, the pitcher needs to start his delivery before the clock hits 0, or the umpire can call an automatic ball.
Well, I mean, that's what the
Does
timer
that make
is for.
sense?
Yeah, that's what the timer is for. But okay, going back to the batter. So
Yeah.
if the pitcher just steps on the rubber and is just
8
and
seconds.
they know that the
Yep.
batter isn't prepared or isn't paying attention,
Yep.
they can get themselves an automatic strike.
With this, now here's another to add to it. The pitcher, or excuse me, the hitter can step out of the box only once per plate appearance, or it is an automatic strike.
That's
The
dumb.
pitcher can step off or throw to a base only twice
Okay.
per plate appearance, or the third time that they do it,
Automatic strike.
it is a balk. So, like, here's where we're
Are
getting,
you kidding me?
There are so many new rules, and now here's where I don't like.
There are going to be
I don't
so many
stolen
bases.
so many stolen bases. Terrence Gore
Is going to
has unlimited jobs,
Jose Altuve.
unlimited offers.
It's good.
Jose Altuve with the bigger bases, with everything. There are so many more opportunities for fast guys that can only run to have jobs in the league,
Yeah.
right? Much more valuable, especially Terrence Gore, or like a Dave Roberts from the Red Sox during his
Obviously,
time.
Terrence Gore.
Yeah, steal base, steal taco, the ultimate guy, Terrence Gore. Put him on base, just let him go. Anyway, so once again, let me reiterate all these rules, and this is just with pitch clock and things like that. 15-second pitch clock when nobody's on base. 20-second pitch clock when men are on base, 1 or 3, whatever it may be. The hitter has to be in the box with his eyes locked. That's the part that kills me.
That's
The eyes locked on the pitcher with at least 8 seconds left on the timer, or the umpire can call an automatic strike.
People are just
Now,
gonna start
what's
staring into
interesting?
each other's
What's
eyes.
interesting about this, Rico?
Yeah.
That's a call that the home plate umpire doesn't make. That's a call that the second base umpire is going to make, because the home plate umpire will not know if the eyes are locked on the pitcher, since he is standing behind the home plate.
So okay, so those guys that have, you know, the routines when they get into the box or when they're getting into the box, and when you swipe it the opposite box or at the line or whatever, and then you do your whole, you know, swinging the bat, hitting the dirt off your shoes, like all that stuff.
Yep.
Like that has to be done before the 8 seconds, because then you need to get the bat up and you need your eyes locked on the pitcher. Right?
So, yeah. So here's another thing here. The pitcher needs to start his delivery before the clock hits 0, or the umpire can call an automatic ball. The hitter can only step out once per plate appearance. So that's basically when the pitcher is set, or, you know, is ready to start throwing the ball, for people that might not understand or know baseball and the terminology. Before he comes set, or while he's set, to call time and say, hold on, I need to regroup. He can only do that once per at bat now. And then vice versa, the pitcher can step off or throw to a base only twice per plate appearance, or the third time is a balk. So with that is basically, you can't have guys who is, if he's a threat on first base, the pitcher has to be really selective on how, number one, with the pitch clock being a shorter amount of time, only 20 seconds at that time, you have to be selective with your timing, with your rhythm, your process, with how many times you want to pick over, how many times you want to step off. Do I want to pick over every time I step off?
How many
do I
times-
want to step off and that uses up my time?
So you can
stepping
only
off?
step off twice?
You can only step
throw-
off and or throw.
Oh, so the step
twice.
off.
See, Rico, I knew you'd get passionate about this. I knew you'd get fired up.
This is ridiculous.
Because now,
I understand wanting to make the game faster. I understand 3 hours or whatever is way too long to sit at a ballpark and watch a baseball game. Whatever. I'm cool with that. But the pitch clock, sure, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But the whole you can only do this amount of times. You can only do that. You can only throw. You can
There's a
only
lot of
step off.
counting. There's a lot of counting.
What if, God forbid, you like slip at some point, or you just get something just gets thrown off?
Well, what
because these baseball players, and I know you know this, very like, what's the word I'm like,
it's bang bang.
No, not that. It's you guys do things a certain way every single time.
You get into it. So as a pitcher,
like
and
a rhythm.
That's
Right?
exactly
Yeah,
what I
that's
was trying to get to. It's like as a pitcher now with an accelerated clock, or with even more rules and how much counting. Like it sounds stupid. In that moment, you're not thinking. Well, now you will have to. In that moment, you're not thinking. Okay, I've already picked over 2 times. In that moment, I'm more thinking as a pitcher. You're thinking, all right, what's this guy? How often does this guy steal? What am I mixing up my timing enough? Basically, for a lot of people out there, a big thing as a base runner is you look at the timing of a pitcher. When a pitcher comes set, you'll realize that they will get into a rhythm because that's what's comfortable to them. So whether that's coming set, pausing for 1 second unintentionally, or they pause for 2 seconds and take 2 breaths, base runners can start picking up on that, and that's things that are talked about in the dugout at high school, college, and now professional level. Is that you don't even look for that first movement anymore. It's so much off of timing and off of habits because pitchers are worried about throwing strikes and not balking, which is basically like doing an illegal pitch.
And
they're so concerned about that.
Considering everybody can hit a home run, you got to make sure you're hitting your spots.
And being on the same page with your catcher, that's what pitchers get so concerned about, especially at the lower levels, that they get into a rhythm without even realizing it.
Then all of a sudden,
it's free picking. It's free. Yeah, it's free bases.
And Ray and Joe make obvious points after 2 step offs. The base runner is going to get a massive lead.
Bingo,
because he's not throwing over.
You have to. It's insane. You have to be careful. And you have to be very selective on how often you throw over or how often you step. But you can't. As a pitcher, you can't stand there and continue to check him over your shoulder while you're on the rubber
20 seconds.
because you have 20 seconds.
You cannot try to pick somebody off twice if you don't think you're going to get them one of those times.
Yeah.
You pick off once, you're going to have to throw the pitch.
And that's exactly why guys in the league like Terrence Gore are really valuable
This
now.
is going to be so dumb.
But think about it. So now you're going to have umpires. Now you're going to have umpires that will, I should say, either decide to call it because they'll either choose to call it or they'll let it slide. But now you're going to have the same issues similar conversations that we're having in the NFL, similar conversations that we're having in NBA, to where you can't, just because this guy won a Cy Young award last year, doesn't mean he gets an extra 2 seconds added onto his pitch clock. Or doesn't mean that he just lets it slide. Or at the end of a game,
no superstar calls.
Bingo. So now you're allowing the game to not. Maybe it speeds it up, which also like these decisions, it's not going to like take off an hour of game time. It's not going to take off 30 minutes of game time. So now you are sacrificing, I guess, 10 minutes of a game, but with that, the potential of much more criticism becomes available.
You know what's going to be really interesting?
If that makes sense.
This a little bit. This is really going to test catchers.
Yeah.
John Corlin says, really just starting to sit back and let them play. I get that. It's still a dumb rule, and I'm going to criticize it because, again, you pick off twice, all of a sudden somebody's going to steal. You're going to be testing your catcher's arm. These catchers are going to get a workout this season with these new rules.
And now with this, since baseball, this will be the last one that we'll kind of talk about.
Still nobody's touching Ricky Henderson's record, though.
Well, this will be the last one. Yeah, exactly. 130, I think he had.
Way too many.
130 bases. Either way, this will be the last one that we talk about before we we get to the phone line real quick. Shifts are banned.
Love it.
To an extent.
But also kind of hate it because the Yankees did a lot.
Listen to this, Rico. The 4-man outfield may be going away and say hello to the 2-man outfield. So technically, it's not really a 2-man outfield. It would just be an outfield with 2 defenders in a conventional outfield location and a third outfielder lurking in, say, short right field. So it would be
So the outfield's still the same, but the infield, because
there.
the infield
No.
you
So what
can't.
you would do, you can't have 5 guys on the dirt. So what you would have is basically a guy playing in this diagram that they show on the Athletic. A center fielder, a right fielder, a shallow right fielder in between the first and second baseman, then a third baseman, shortstop, second baseman, first baseman.
I thought they made it so you had to have
So-
2 people on the side of each.
You do.
Of each base.
Of infield.
Yes, so you have to have
Exactly.
your shortstop and your third baseman
Yep.
on that side of
Yep.
second, but then you'll have.
But you have somebody in shallow right field for heavy pull hitters in between. But so then you slide that second baseman closer to second base to get up the middle.
Yeah.
And so they're figuring out ways to still shift, although it's banned.
See,
but that also will
if
leave
you hit that
left field wide open.
If you somehow are able to go opposite, you're getting the third.
Yeah. So
Like,
now,
it's not even a question.
And OG Les Lancaster points it out. Now, we're going to see if they start to do that to where they play a shallow right fielder. You're about to see a lot of 9-3 putouts, right fielder to first base, ground outs. A lot more on the scorecard.
It's going to be really
because
weird.
he's going to be considered the right fielder in that situation. Fascinating stuff. A lot of counting coming into Major League Baseball. And a lot of things for Angel Hernandez to screw up.
That's going to be fun.
So, just crazy stuff. Let's take a break. We round out the week with Austin and Strick coming up next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app bar to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the happy hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Can you believe all the empty car lots in Lincoln? How can they survive? Well, they are surviving by charging way too much and making you believe there are no cars available. Hey, this is Carl from Price Right Auto. I'm here to tell you that they are full of bull stuffing. Come out to Price Right in West O, and you'll find over 100 great vehicles at some great prices. We won't let you get a lemon since we back every one of our vehicles with our peace of mind 3-month warranty. If you want a hassle-free car buying experience, check out our website, PriceRightAuto.com. Come see a great selection of affordable used cars on West O Street at Price Right Auto.
An exciting new pre-workout for athletes and gym enthusiasts who want the most out of their workouts. Anarchy can only be found in Nutrition Authority. Remember, when you want results, the solution is simple. Nutrition Authority. Stop in, call, or check us out at mynutritionauthority.com.
Problem gambling affects millions of Americans daily, all ages and walks of life. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Are you looking for a solid, stable career in assembly, CNC machining, or injection molding? We got you covered. Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class manufacturer with a 70-year history right here in Lincoln. And I just listed some great career opportunities that you can find by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in a clean, modern, air-conditioned facility with great people, contact me today by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest, quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Mike Shaver here to tell you that Trek CBD has a new name, and it's Hemp Boss. It's the same product you've grown to love, just a new name. Spring sports are on the horizon, and Hemp Boss has a variety of products that help calm me down during games and on the golf course so I don't go over the top. And they have a variety of options for you to calm you down before, during, and after any event. Whether you're looking for drinkable Delta 8 seltzers, hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups for your beverages, or anything else, Hemp Boss has it all at 84th and Andermatt. Hemp Boss, naturally healthy CBD.
Tailored Landscapes is actively preparing for spring. Things like getting new tree orders, getting equipment ready, and training staff to serve you the best we can. If you haven't already planned, now is the perfect time to figure out a maintenance plan for your yard. We're on the brink of spring cleanups for all of our existing customers and have limited spots left. We trim trees and shrubs when needed and only mulch proper amounts. Give us a call today at 402-432-2572 you to set up a meeting with one of our designers and get ready for Tailored Life's grand opening in Bennett. There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated by a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience with Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman. Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Starter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. StarterHeyman.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL Weather, sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
A bit of a nicer day for our Friday when compared to yesterday. We'll see a high of 38 today. Sunny skies, winds out of the west-southwest of around 10 to 15. A low tide of around 23. Will be a little breezy at times tomorrow. South winds gusting over 20, pushing our highs back up to 43. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM First, 93.7 The Ticket. Listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary. Sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket at ticketfm.com.
We are back here on the Happy Hour, 93.7fm.com. We have brought Austin and Strick into the show. Good stuff on baseball. We'll ask them their thoughts on it here in a moment. But first, since it is a Friday, we have to do what we do every Friday. Shout out to Timmy Trumpet. Shout out to the song Narco. And here we go. Whether you're in your cubicle, not in your car, probably with the icy roads. In your car, please. But if you're home, if you're at work, time to dance on a Friday. Let's go. That was a good one. That was electric today. That was more electric than normal. Gentlemen, what's up?
Sun came out after the blizzardy conditions of yesterday. It's good.
You have made it from your humble abode.
Yes, I did.
To Lincoln.
I felt like I left my boy hanging yesterday, and so I said, "No way, not today,
never again."
Never again, huh?
Never again.
Never again. All right, you heard it here first. Never again. And it's also Good Sense Friday.
Big news, cross hands.
I had my fingers crossed. I gotcha. Toes crossed. Nice try. It is Good Sense Friday also, so shout out to the Pillow Restaurant Group for providing lunches for all of us here at the Ticket. So you came in on a good day. I almost ate your sandwich.
I wish you would have, because I am absolutely full.
From the sandwich?
From freaking this breakfast diner I stopped at
nice.
before I came in.
Where at?
Full. Gretna.
What's it called?
Oh, I can't remember the name.
Okay.
Okay, no free shout outs. That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. You'll have to tell us during the break.
Hey, remember when I told you guys about the pro volleyball team or pro volleyball
With
conference
Jason
thing
Derulo?
they were doing?
Yeah.
Two other cities have been announced.
Oh,
can you guess?
Grand Rapids.
That was the first one.
That was Cedar Rapids.
No, it was Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids was the
Sioux
first.
Falls.
Omaha, no.
All the Rapids.
Omaha was the second.
All the
Yakima, Washington.
No.
Negative.
One is down south, and the other one is kind of Midwest,
Birmingham,
northeasty. No,
just tell us.
Atlanta.
Atlanta pulled it off.
Atlanta pulled it off, and the other one just announced today, 1 hour ago. They have a really good college football team.
Athens, Georgia.
No,
Nashville.
Midwest, northeast.
Really good college football team.
Columbus, Ohio.
There it is.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, so, but do any of them have Jason Derulo?
They do not.
Well, I don't really care then. No, I'm just kidding. I do
Does
care.
anybody have Wiz Khalifa?
No.
Wiz Khalifa's coming to Lincoln.
Yeah, that's
Strick,
what I
you
hear.
gonna watch? Are you gonna go?
Negative.
Come on, Strick.
You know, I'm not a black and yellow guy.
Yeah.
You know, you're probably going to smell an aroma. It's be a major aroma in there.
It's on April 21st. So
Not for me.
Okay, so we were talking baseball rules, and I wanted to real quick. Bill Bennett, that's who it was, said, didn't college baseball change a few rules too this year? One of the biggest ones was that the SEC conference changed it to where there's a run rule after 7 innings. If the home team or whatever team, I guess,
10 runs.
Is up by 10 runs or more after 7 innings of play, they're gonna postpone the game. People get mad about that, and I'm not one of those that gets mad about that. I know, Rico, you do, because
What
you
do I get
like
mad about?
the run rules
Everything.
in college baseball.
They're done.
See, because Rico wants to see like a 24-6 win by Arkansas over
Heck yeah, I do. But no, not Arkansas and Vanderbilt. I want to see those two teams blow out other teams. They're not going to blow each other out. No.
Okay, so
I want to see Vanderbilt put up a nice 30-burger on somebody just because they can.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Strick. I mean, a big
Why? 'Cause
reason
they get used to getting bucked in football. So that's their
Exactly. They need it.
There's like certain schools that play really good in soccer.
It'll keep them going.
But I'm
Also,
sorry,
here,
go ahead.
it's okay. A big reason why they do that is because arm health is so important nowadays. Arm
Yeah.
health is so crucial. Ask Kyle Perry if he really is wanting to, after his 2 Tommy John surgeries, 2 elbow surgeries, if he's really willing to go in there in the 8th inning when you're up 14-1 on Texas A&M Corpus Christi and you want to throw a couple innings relief.
Well, it's like the new MLB rules with position players on the mound.
But we don't need to see that. Just call the game.
Just call the game.
Ask every college head coach ever.
Yeah.
Do they need more pitching?
That's-
Yes. What's a way to save pitches? Get games over after
Put
seven
your,
innings.
they need more
put your
pitchers.
second baseman on the mound.
But also that's also what midweek games are for in
Yes.
college baseball. Like midweek games are for, you saw it last year with Drew Christo, who was a guy that maybe wasn't ready to crack the weekend rotation, whether it was starting on the mound or coming in relief. But those midweek games against the Northern Colorados, the Texas A&M Corpus Christi's, are more of relief type games. No matter what, you'll most of the time have a longer reliever start the game and go 4 innings, and then it's just a bullpen game the entire day. That's what those midweek games are for. So that's why they do the 10-run. And I wouldn't be surprised to see everybody adopt it here soon.
And softball has the 8-run rule, so if softball's doing it, why can't baseball?
When softball is the more natural arm motion as well.
Is the SEC leading the charge as far as adoptions of different things?
New baseball rules?
I wouldn't be surprised.
The SEC does its own thing.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question then,
Kinda like
because now that the timetable has been moved up, Oklahoma and Texas will be entering a year early. What are the options? Do you see it going to a pod system, or do you see them, because they've already stated they're ending divisions
with football?
Did they?
Yeah, yeah, they already the
SEC is.
Yeah, they said they're
Okay.
going to end that. So it's either going to be a full. They may hold another division, but I doubt it. But it could be a pod system. If the SEC, Sutter Heyman text line as well, 402-464-5685, if they adopt a pod system, there's multiple ways that it can go. They can go an East, Central, a Southern, and a Western, or they can go by way of, they can make it look like a clover leaf, where you can have like Auburn split with Alabama.
Yeah.
Georgia, they go Auburn, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia. Then you go Alabama, LSU, one of the schools in Texas, Texas A&M, and Mississippi State. And then you roll around and go Missouri, Texas, Oklahoma, and one of the other schools, and then Tennessee's on the other side with that group. There's multiple ways you can do it, but how would you like to see it? Because they're even talking about 3-3-6 potentially.
Yeah, where
and
there's
they're talking
3
about
opponents.
rivals where it's tough to create 3 rivals.
Well, here's what's crazy. I don't know if I would want to keep, probably for the Red River rivalry. I was going to say, I don't know if I would almost be interested in splitting up Texas and Oklahoma, but I don't think that would happen.
That's
because
like splitting up Atlanta,
you have
Alabama and Auburn.
Well, you have the Red River rivalry as well.
That's so hard to say.
Yeah, say it fast. You
Red River
can't.
rivalry.
See, Red River.
Red River.
Dang, did I say that?
Yeah.
Red River rivalry.
See, River.
I said Red River rivalry.
Red River
See,
rivalry.
can you do it? Can you do it? It doesn't make me feel as bad when the great Eric Strickland can't say no.
I know, man.
No, I don't know. I haven't given much thought into pods, and I just don't like
That'll
pods.
be
I miss
16 teams.
I miss the Legends leaders.
Bring back the Big 12 North.
I just want to talk about that. I miss the Legends leaders. I'm a big Legends leaders guy for the Big Ten Conference. I don't know, like pods. It'd be tough for me to speak on the SEC. Like Big Ten, since we know the landscape better, I think would be easier to project.
Tell me.
Because I find it hard to where they wouldn't go pods number one. Number two, I think you're going to have a team like Nebraska, unfortunately, being either USC or UCLA's pod, one of those or both of those.
I like it.
Just because Nebraska's
me.
still,
Westmost.
yeah. Well, it's I don't even know if it's geography. It's more of just like who fits in the Big Ten. Like Nebraska's always, ever since they got here, has just always felt like, I don't want to say an outcast, but like
the Cinderella
stepchild. Yeah. Like when you look at Iowa and Northwestern, and you look at Wisconsin, I suppose, and
Minnesota.
Yeah, like those are
Big Ten
characteristically Big Ten teams to the core. Nebraska football, unfortunately, hasn't been. Like, although it makes sense, I'm not mad that Nebraska ever moved from the Big 12 from a financial standpoint. From a feel, it still hasn't really.
You just
felt
feel like
it.
you're left out of the.
Yeah, it feels like
party.
I feel like Nebraska's part of the Big Ten through and through. Like, I'm not saying that. It's just when you look at them and then you compare them to other universities, I feel like they're just kind of on the outside looking at.
Chase B says that what if they do like Nebraska high school wrestling and your pod changes every 2 years? Would that be?
Well, that's kind of the 3-3-5.
I was going to say, yeah, because
3-3-5 model.
Exactly. I don't know if you'd want to change it so often because it'd be tough to establish a new rivalry. I mean, because like
I think and how important is rivalry? How important is playing everybody versus how important is protecting, your Iowa, Minnesota,
and that's where I mean, maybe you will have to change stuff if you keep adding teams. I mean, you'll probably have to change formats eventually.
Look, at some point, if you're going to 16, 18, however many teams, at some point you're going to lose playing a rivalry every single year. Like it's going to happen. Or you're going to have to accept the fact that you're going to have that one game and you're not going to be able to play every team every year. I mean, you're not going to be able to do that regardless. But yeah, I mean, that's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to play Alabama doesn't have to play Vanderbilt and Kentucky to prove that they're the best. Georgia doesn't have to play South Carolina and Mississippi State to prove that they're one of the best. It doesn't matter. If they beat the teams on their schedule, then that proves that they deserve to be there. Just because you don't play everybody doesn't mean that you're not better than the other teams. You don't have to play everybody every single year. But I think protecting at least one rivalry, because every fan base has one school that they can't stand. Some teams have multiple trophy games, like a Wisconsin or an Iowa, but they know the one team that they can't stand.
So
Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't match up with that same team. Maybe they're like, oh yeah, you're our rival, but this is our true rival. So then you're going to run into some issues there.
What's that for Tennessee? See, that's the thing. Like Tennessee's like the odd man out as far as rivals are concerned. It's like Tennessee spent a whole bunch of time trying to create it when they were good. The Peyton Manning years when they were good, they were just trying to spark it by talking crazy to certain teams and so forth and so on. But they really don't have one because at this point,
you can just do
is Georgia Alabama's rival? Because really, traditionally, it's always been Auburn.
It's still Auburn.
Okay,
that's like that. Those are like
Auburn,
families.
Georgia is Cavs Warriors right now.
Auburn
or Alabama Georgia is Cavs Warriors.
It's just because they're both good at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. I see that. Like, so Sugar Shane, that's hard to say.
Sugar Shane.
Sugar Shane says, I think rivalries will be fine. We're still playing Oklahoma and Colorado. I get that to an extent, but if they aren't part of that 16 or 18 teams field, you're not going to be.
No.
And plus those take, 6-8 years in advance to plan and sort out. To plan all the details accordingly.
Looking forward to those games for a while.
So, think about it. It was back when Bill Moose was the athletic director. That's when the whole Oklahoma and Colorado series were finalized. And then also, I think unfortunately, the conferences will have a lot of say on who your new rivalries are. If you want to continue saying the word rivalries, because if Nebraska if the Big Ten puts Nebraska in the USC UCLA pod, It's going to be pretty obvious that they're trying to force a rivalry between Nebraska and one of those teams.
There's no way that can happen though, because if you do the traditional pod system, that's undue burden and travel.
It is. Yeah.
So you can't just say, okay, you 4 Western teams. It should be USC, UCLA, Nebraska, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
That's so much more travel if you make those teams a pod for those teams compared to everyone else.
That's true. But now we also know
those
travel
two schools
isn't
are
that
really the only two that would work with USC and UCLA if you're talking about travel.
Iowa, Nebraska. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you're talking if the travel is a part of it, then those are the only two that would work with USC and UCLA.
Hence why maybe there's more teams.
You're not gonna put USC in a pod with Rutgers.
You can just have a Pac-12 pod. Oregon and Oregon State.
I can
bring those 4.
Yeah, why not?
I can
those 4 are your
ultimately
pod.
see a purpose underlying low-key shady.
Love
the
it.
Colorado-Nebraska matchup for this game.
Yeah.
It could be possible a reigniting, and I could see Colorado coming over.
Big Ten would like to have Dion.
I could see Colorado
They would
coming over.
They would love to have Dion.
I would say. I mean, so
How long does Dion stay in
so
Colorado?
what also
Yeah.
I was seeing what to me, this is only my opinion. I was seeing the Washington-Ohio State matchup as Washington was trying to make an effort to show the Big Ten,
hey,
and we're here.
Yeah. We would also like to be a part of your conference.
But it just was canceled.
And then Ohio State was like, no, we would rather not.
That's what's fascinating to see who the new commissioner is.
Well, and that's where I think
me.
I was just going to actually start to say that I'm surprised we haven't heard anything on that.
Not even names.
It's
I
been
would give
real
it to
quiet.
Jim. I think Jim Phillips is going to be.
I
the next guy.
forgot that we were looking for a new Big Ten commissioner. Honestly.
I feel like that's the layup, and that's the most. I just feel like it's a layup.
I would say I don't know we don't really know what his track record is with the ACC. I mean, it seemed like he was going to be the guy after Delaney, but then he took the ACC job before that came open. So I can't say he's done a bad job with the ACC, but he hasn't done anything special.
The ACC is still alive, and nobody's left it. Therefore, he's done a good job.
I suppose
that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, I don't know. And now the whole thing of Kevin Warren wanted expansion, but nobody else did.
Good on Kevin Warren.
Like, wow. And there's just a lot. There's a lot that we're going to learn here.
People hate on Kevin Warren.
5 years of college football.
He secured the bag.
He did.
Yeah, he did. Got the massive TV
he
deal.
secured the bag.
Was one of the first commissioners to have TV execs in the meetings with the guys for media deals and media rights deals. So
smart man.
Yeah, just interesting kind of tenure for Kevin Warren. That'll do it for Rico and I. Make sure you stick around on the block with Austin and Strick is coming up next as they continue on with your Friday afternoon. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us all week. Enjoy the awesome sports weekend. Husker baseball, Husker softball, Husker women's basketball, Husker men's basketball,
Husker alumni,
wrestling. Everything is coming on this weekend. Make sure you support. Head out to PBA. We'll talk to you on Monday. See ya.
Adios.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet.